Hey everybody over at movies.com. It is the Schmoes Know Movie Show. I'm Christian.
And I am Mark. Christian, this weekend in theaters, Birdman. And who's back? Michael Keaton playing a superhero, kind of.
He sure is, and he's back in more ways than one because this is the role that he's starting to get buzz for. We might see this guy, I'm pretty sure it's clear-cut, in the Oscar rates come February. Now, let's talk about the top 5 Michael Keaton movies of all time. This is not an easy list to put together.
It's a celebration of one of the best actors that we've had. He used to be a great stand-up. He's from Pittsburgh originally. What was his real name?
Michael Jones.
Michael Douglas, then he had to change it. There's another actor named Michael Douglas.
Heard of him.
Coming in at number 5 is going to be a film that really launched his career on the big screen. He was joined by Henry Winkler and Shelley Long in the Ron Howard film Night Shift.
Night Shift. I have actually never seen Night Shift, but I remember seeing bits and pieces of it, and I just remember hearing about this guy Michael Keaton through this movie. So
this
the first one.
is why you were arguing for Johnny Dangerously at number 5, isn't it?
My mother told me not to put Johnny Dangerously in the top 5 once.
I'm guessing that's a quote from Johnny Dangerously. Who we got at number 4?
Number 4 would be Clean and Sober. Clean and Sober was a movie that was a departure for him because he was doing all these comedies like Gung Ho and other movies that we'll talk about soon. But Clean and Sober was a drama that he played a recovering alcoholic, and it was intense.
He's got a darkness to him that can belie the comedic sensibility that he always wore more on his sleeve, especially in the 80s, and that's going to help him out. Like you said, when he's playing roles such as a guy named Bruce later on in his career, Clean and Sober was the announcement that this guy can pretty much do anything on screen, including be very, very intense and dramatic. It's scary watching him in some of these scenes.
Hey, you guys know I can drink and stuff, right? What do you got at number 3?
At number 3, Mr. Mom. If you talk about Night Shift being the comedy that launched his career, Mr. Mom blew him up into the stratosphere. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Mom was the one that I remember seeing as a kid and laughing hysterically, even as a little kid, and knowing this guy is awesome. Who is this guy? And he plays the single dad. He loses his job. He has to watch his kids. And him and Terry Garr.
Yeah, another great comedic force.
Yeah, and it's a lighthearted movie. If you haven't seen Mr. Mom, go and visit it. It's a really, really nice, warm, funny film, and it, like you said, it put him into superstar status.
It's got Martin Mull in it. Go see it.
Oh, nice. Number 2, I'm Batman. Batman. Batman was the one that he was not supposed to succeed at. They said, it's not going to happen. No one's going to accept you as Batman. Tim Burton believed in him, and it was really, put the Superman, Richard Donner stuff aside, it really made comic book movies something of a blockbuster.
I think for a while this was my favorite comic book film of all time, and it's still competing in the mix simply because Michael Keaton is so good. Batman is a very complex character. Yes, he's a superhero, he can fight crime, but when he's just being himself, Bruce Wayne, there's so much there emotionally. There's such a weight to that character, and Michael Keaton, like you said, he's been in comedies like Night Shift, he's also been in dramas like Clean and Sober, and it all came to a head perfectly in Batman, and then also Batman Returns.
But let's talk about Batman because the other reason this movie's so good is because he was up against Jack Nicholson, Joker. Never rub another man's rhubarb. And though the lines that it essentially was a Joker movie for the most part. It was about the Joker story, but when Batman was in it, it was great.
Yeah, but you didn't see the development of Batman like you saw the development of Joker.
Well, that's what they were supposed to do, by the way, and that's what Michael Keaton wanted to do with Tim Burton in Batman 3, was get more into his history. And then they said, no, we want to do more colors and lights and ruin the franchise. And he's like, no, I'm out of here.
I think we can all agree that Robert Wuhl is great in 1989's Batman. But at number 1 is going to be the film that it makes me laugh so hard. It's such an original movie, and it's also directed by Tim Burton. The year before Batman came out, Beetlejuice, starring Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. I've already said his name twice.
I've come for your daughter, Chuck. Such a great movie. This is a movie that you maybe wouldn't expect to like if you just weren't a Tim Burton fan or didn't like the creepy stuff, but it's impossible not to like this movie. He's brilliant as it. He loses himself as Beetlejuice, this ghost that's living in these people's model who themselves are ghosts, and it's bizarre, it's strange, it's fun, and it's just a movie that everyone should see.
The Maitlands, they look nice and stupid too. Look, you get some elements of horror, and the comedy is just off the charts hilarious. Not just from Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, but from Jeffrey Jones and Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis. It might be my favorite movie from that decade that was the 80s.
Jump in the line. Rock your booty on time.
Yeah, the music, like when they play Deo and stuff at like football
So
and
good.
base, I don't like that.
What?
I
The music.
get it.
I love that. I love the music. I love all of it. And it's got your shrunken head at the end too. So that's the movie. That's the
Smaller
best.
head?
That's the number one.
Why didn't anybody tell me about this?
That's amazing. That's number one. But there were a couple honorable mentions. You could have Pacific Heights was one that some people.
He was creepy in that.
I remember One Good Cop. I don't think a lot of people remember that.
He was shooting that after he shot Batman. That's when he really realized that how big this Batman was.
Right.
There's these little kids out on the street just to watch Batman shoot a good fake gun.
Gung Ho was one that some people dig. Finstock loves Gung Ho. Multiplicity. I forgot he was in Jackie Brown, and if we're doing animation, Toy Story 3.
Yeah, it's so great to see him back on the big screen in Birdman. You guys got to check out Birdman. It's in theaters this weekend, and then also you're going to have Fury starring Brad Pitt. It's a World War II movie. You have The Book of Life with such voices as Channing Tatum, and you have The Best of Me, which is a Nicholas Sparks romance. So have fun. There's probably going to be some sort of disease in there in the last half hour. It's Christian. I'm Mark. It's a Schmoes No Movie Show. He's still waving on movies.com. Fly away, bird.